You said the Most High gave his word to everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
That bondage you living on right now. That bondage is why you at the bus stop right
You know what else?
You understand? The scripture says, any man speak, let us speak with the oracles of God.
Right, that in order for her, like if she came back, she couldn't come back and get no UPK money. You know what I'm saying? I ain't heard from her since. Really? She tried to talk to Jim Muhammad. Jim Muhammad said, no, I don't want to talk to her. I gave her all the time.
The law is a small thing.
separate, man. We are separate from these other nations, man.
He's not even taking into account. You said what now? Can you put that up on the big screen?
140 for the rebel, busy man, shit, nigga. They tear their head off, nigga. I read where Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no holder lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, oh they lies, this hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Nigga think I'm playing, I
Y'all could find it on YouTube and Facebook and share the class. Love the show.
Suckle up and stay alert. Another cop just stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that oath in blood, then you know I'm gon' get active with you. Fuck the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spit and I ain't listening. Is in fact if revenge was a woman, now I stroke that bitch like Jackie. So I war, we gon' run the summer. It's gon' be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. Ask who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand.
If you could, Michelle, bring up that ordinance report too. I want that to coincide with the Bible said about that crack cocaine.
What's a demon to a cold leader?
Getting any other footage on the war on drugs. Hillary Clinton calling us super predators, all of that.
Bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead. Just raised up the chain. Free shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you. You will never get that hand back. He bitching about 10%. I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him. Just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody won't be Richard Porter. God kill him like Alpo. Play if he won't, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, out with that hollow side. Yeah, this the real McCoy. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy. Dear Lord, I hope you hear my prayers. Because we really, really need you down here. From all the pain that we going through. We know that you real, so can you fall through?
I got a dip bar
Father,
too.
have mercy when we call.
Actually, man, I meant to post this. I got a whole universal machine that I'm about to get rid of. It's gonna be to the first brother that want it. It's got, you know, it's got the cable, it's got that machine on it, the bench press on it. You can use it to squat, you can do pull downs with it, do your back with it.
About 5 minutes.
I used to be a monster about not too long ago, but as I age, I'm noticing, I'm realizing that I gotta come down on the weight that I'm used to lifting. Mentally, when I go to the gym, I still want to lift to bulk up, you know what I mean? But I gotta switch the flip, in my mind to go ahead and do a lot more, light weights, a lot of reps, get more, stuff like that, core and push-ups and pull-ups and jumping jacks more.
Yeah. Go ahead. Come on, West. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Rockin' this shit, man. Go ahead. Look, I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet, got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother way. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Man, this shit is too easy. I'm on gold, but they don't believe me. You know I'm winning with the team. Screaming Vinny, 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 Vij. Hear them devils screaming out bloody murder. I'm about to close the curtain. I'm on my grind, bitch, and work. Sorry, all them lies, it ain't working. Them niggas weak, they be churching. I'm a West nigga, that's for certain. If he cross the line, I'ma back up and I'ma hit his ass with this virus. And I come through 300 strong, 144 Leonidas. All my niggas, we eatin'. I'm in this bitch with the itis. Say, all y'all do the sweet. They all do the sweet. If a nigga made the wrong move, he make his ass obsolete. He ain't one of us, hit the lead. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas go retreat. Look, I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet, got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat.
You see this look that's on my face, bitch, I'm for real with it. I hit the streets, put on my cleats, was in the field with it. You soft as cotton, just an actor, Uncle Phil with it. And then my target's on the move, but I can still hit it. Hey, I speak true cause it's necessary. Gullah Jack revolutionary. Cold on them like January. Commander General is a visionary. Soul food, no sweets. Your preacher man, he's sweet. Matter of fact, he weak. It's wartime for peace. Think you hard, nigga, you ain't. Fuck with us, nigga, you can't. You smart cars, we tanks. We form up in ranks. We body bag this rap shit. All black, no bright shit. Real life, no cap, bitch. Fall on them, that's cap shit.
I keep it low to the T. UBK play for keeps. Ain't shit sweet, got soldiers on deck, and my youngin' did a sweep. This a whole nother wave. Tell him get the fuck off the beach. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Nigga, come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. I'm in the field with the cleats. He ain't one of us, he a breach. Come through all black gully jack, man. All them niggas gon' retreat. Go ahead.
You say I'm hot right now? What's going on with you, Hebrew? Man, I'm chilling. These brothers just went over there and got some of that signature General Mahimans. What's that, LaFrog? You didn't get the LaFrog? Oh, you okay? Most times. Okay, we'll stick to the brown then. Salakia. All right, we the Israelite School of UPK. We started off at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Our leader is Commander General Yohana. He's the leader of the entire nation of Israel because of his sacrifice and his steadfast commitment to the 1 West doctrine that was given to us in the year 1969. All right. What we do is we go throughout the entire earth and we set the record straight on Christ, the Bible, and all the misconceptions thereof. Namely, the so-called virgin birth, the water baptism, whether or not God has a chosen people, whether or not he loves everybody, and so many other misconceptions, like is the law done away with, man, what marriage is. The Israelite School of UPK, we are the foremost authority on the Bible, and no one can contend with us. We dare you to call the number on the screen, and let's have a conversation about what you believe is in the Bible versus what we know and what we can prove is in there, all right? So today is Thursday, our scripture breakdown class in the city of Detroit, and we answer all questions online and in the audience. If there is a question that is posed that I do not have a thorough definition of or explanation for or cannot break down properly, I consult the men above me, and they reach all the way back to 1969. All right, so, again, we're the Israelite School of UPK, and no one can contend with us. All right, we're going to open up the class today with a question from, actually, Mashah, did you have something you wanted to open up with? Water, please.
This is a question coming from offline, the first one.
Okay.
It said, if a woman puts herself away.
If a woman puts herself away, go ahead.
And another man sleeps with her, is she wrong, or is she wrong and or is he wrong, and what if it's multiple men she sleep with? I need some counsel, Salakia, to the men above me.
All right, the first thing I will say to the brother, and this is a legitimate question on Facebook. The first thing I would say to him, man, that question right there, you should know the answer already. I mean, you should know the answer to that question. Meaning, like when he says, if a woman puts herself away, can anybody describe what that is? Have anybody experienced something like that? Can you articulate what that means? Anybody? If a woman puts herself away. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That means she's refraining from sex?
No. What do you mean refraining from sex?
Like she's decided to not sleep with the man anymore. I was going to say like become a nun.
Okay, now what? Okay. So, again, elaborate a little bit more. If a woman does what? If
she puts herself away, that means she's saying that she's no longer interested in sexual intercourse with any man. Like she's refraining from sex.
But this is we're talking about a woman that was already married, correct? This woman is married already, right? Does a woman have, according to the Bible, does a woman have the right to refuse her husband sex? She does not. Okay, you got a precept? It's kind of a set up question, right? Because you can do whatever it is that you want to do. The Lord gave you the will to do whatever it is that you want to do. What He requires of you is to follow His laws. All right? He requires you to follow His laws. So the woman could deny her husband sex for any number of reasons, right? She could be on her flower, right? She could be sick. Like it's some brothers out there, man, that don't care if that thing's sick or not. Hold on for a second. Hold on. There's some brothers out there, they don't care if she laid up sick with COVID. And there's brothers out there that are asleep with any goddamn thing. Right? So does a woman have a right to deny her husband sex? Go ahead.
I got the precept for that, sir. That Ephesians 5:22.
Go ahead.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord.
Okay. What does that mean?
Like that means that a woman has to submit to her husband.
So he come in the house, the day is the day, baby. And she said, "Oh, baby, I'm sick." Right? I think I'm at the point to die. And he said, "I don't care."
Right.
Does she have the right to refuse him? And that say again? Who says la'ah? I'm surprised that you say that. Who says that the woman sick and in trouble don't have a right to deny her husband sex? Who agree with that, brother? Raise your hand. We ain't no rapists in here, man. This ain't GMS. Is that a lawful order for him to have his wife, while she's on her goddamn deathbed, submit to sex? Is that lawful? Would you consider that cruel and indecent and something that is like disgusting? Like, you don't see that as a little disgusting? She's sitting up there at the point of death. You know, on her deathbed, she's in the hospital about to die, and you just got to get it one more time, huh? Go ahead, Zarak.
Call concert, got the speaker. I mean, the mic is call concert. I actually got a preset for it.
Please.
This is 1 Corinthians 7:5. It says, defraud ye not one the other, except if you would consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for the incontinency.
All right, so the problem with, like, and General Muhammad broke it down so excellent on a different note though, where the spirit of the law is not taken in consideration.
Right.
You believe that if you come in and she ain't on her menstruation, right, that you got a right to that thing no matter what. She could be laid up with the flu, laid up sick. You ever had the flu? You ever been so sick where you can't even hold food down, and you know, and you just done. Imagine some greasy bastard coming in there telling you that I don't care about your sickness. Give me what I want. The problem with men like that, you don't know how to utilize multiple women. That's your problem right there. Right? Because if you just take the law and believe that applies no matter what, right? Then you don't understand the spirit of the law. That is for a lot of women that hold sex as a weapon against their husband because he didn't buy a bag or something, or get her hair done, or they argued about something. That law is in place. That's the spirit of that law. There's a lot of women right now on the earth that will not sleep with their man because he has not fulfilled their personal expectations. Right? Anybody here understand what I'm saying? Should you be able to, if your wife is sitting up sick, you know what I mean, should you just be able to just tell her, I need that, you got to give it to me right now? Is that lawful? You have no self-control? That's a question, man. Y'all looking like y'all confused. Salakia. Maybe please.
I thought that it was when you asked when a woman puts herself away.
Well,
What was the answer?
okay, I appreciate that because I might have confused you a little bit. But then I kind of what I was looking for is to lead up to that breakdown. But because you went there, I have not even addressed his question first. I'm not even on that. I'm on the first question that I asked. Is there any circumstance where it's lawful for a woman to deny her husband sex? He brought the precept that generally everybody would go to. She can't deny you and you can't deny her, and it specifies unless both of us agree. Right. Wouldn't you agree that this is the time to give her a goddamn break? She's sitting up sick. Wouldn't you agree? So go ahead, Kazan.
Slack, yes, sir. Like you said, a lot of people would go to the scripture like what Zarak pulled, but also in Ephesians, the scripture say to love your wife as Christ loved the church as well, which he gave himself he gave his life for the church. So therefore, at the same time, when you're a woman in that position, you would be more of a husband to her, or more of a righteous husband to actually give her a break and be understanding of it.
Yeah, go to your other woman. Just go to your other woman. What's hard about that? Or holler at Mary. If you ain't got another woman and you that pressed, go holler at Mary. She always accommodating, right? Everybody understand? You don't have a right to be a tyrant on your woman, a bully, monster. You don't have that right. You're supposed to be gentle and kind and loving and supportive. You know what I'm saying? We already got a bad rep in the UPK. You saying that right there. Ain't gonna be no more women coming into the school if they hear that we gonna screw them with they laying on the bed with COVID or the flu. Right? Okay, so back to what the brother's question is. The first part of his question is kind of loaded because a woman putting herself away and sleeping with another man, he kind of sugarcoated really what it is that she's doing. A lot of women are like a lot of men, right? Once men get tired of you, he want to move to the next. A lot of men in the world do that. You know what I mean? He done had his way with you, and he tired of you. And this is other little pretty young thing somewhere that he switches up and partakes in. Women are the same, man. Women out there in the world will drop you like a bad habit in a second and be sleeping with the African next door or across the hall or whatever, up the block. You know what I'm saying? And unbeknownst to you, you sitting up there with feelings, but really you were a notch on her belt. You were while my man was the one that took care of the lawn and trimmed the bushes. She had an electrician that came and serviced the refrigerator and the stove and the dryer. You was the one that paid her cell phone bill. You see? So you were many husbands to her, right? So a woman that puts herself away and sleeps with multiple men, I believe that's his question right there. Read it one more time for me, Mashah. What are you listening to?
I'm not hearing.
Okay, I need you to listen to me because you just read what the question is. What is the brother's question?
Come. If a woman puts herself away.
Meaning what? She puts herself away, meaning some argument happened or it's something that she can't deal with about you anymore, and so she says, I don't want to be with you no more. So I believe that's what the brother is saying. Put herself away, meaning she tell you that I'm done with you, and then a period of time go by, and then all of a sudden you find her to be sleeping with Joe Blow and some other cat, because he indicated multiple men this woman is sleeping with, right? Right? Read it again. Find for me where Christ said, you have had, give me that one right there. There you go, Kudash the Bar.
If a woman puts herself away,
Mm-hmm.
and another man sleeps with her,
Mm-hmm.
is she wrong, or is he wrong? And what if?
So let's stop right there. So that's one question. If a woman puts herself away, she's wrong for that right there. That's a sin. To deny your husband, to say, I don't want this marriage anymore. What the Lord put together, no man should cause to go asunder. That's in the scripture, right? And no woman should cause that to separate as well, right? No man or woman should divide that thing that the Lord joined together. And if a woman sleeps with another man, that's absolutely coming in the way of that marriage. So that is a sin on both of their parts. Hers first for calling herself saying, I'm put away. Right? That's the first thing they go to. He put me away. When really she caused all the goddamn problems in the first place because she don't agree with something that he's doing. All right? Keep going. If a woman puts herself away, go ahead.
And another man sleeps with her.
And she allows another man to enter unto her. You know what I'm saying? Is that what?
Is she wrong?
Of course she's wrong. She committed an adultery. Give me the scripture where it says, if a man sleep with another man's woman, both of them have committed an abomination. Go ahead.
Come, want me to continue reading? You want to wait for that scripture?
You can continue reading.
Come. Is she wrong or is he wrong? And what if it's multiple men she sleeps with? Okay,
now let's address the obvious, which is whether both of them are wrong or not. Give me the precept. Who got it? You want to answer that directly with that scripture, or you want to go with the one in Leviticus?
No, I got it. I'll let them go, but I got it.
Okay. Give me the one in Leviticus first.
This is the book of Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Meaning what? If the man that sleeps with a woman that's married, go ahead.
Even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
See that? That's the Lord's sentence on that right there. Now the only exception is this right here. Say this woman goes out and she sleeps with you, and you don't even know that she's married. Say she done ran off today and you meet up with her. Now, which is, I fought you as well, because a brother that's founded in the truth, he's not just gonna sleep with any woman that, you know, he's not gonna be a whore like that, where he would just sleep with the first woman that gives him the opportunity to sleep with her. Any real brother is gonna vet her. You're gonna prove her to be, you know, who she says she is, right? But sometimes a brother might, in his you know, all of these women got somebody. Sometimes a brother in his weakness might go for, you know, some easy prey, but I can't see any way around sleeping with a woman that you meet the first day, and then being surprised when you find out that she got a man somewhere. I don't see no excuse for that, right? I don't see any excuse for that. Although technically you didn't know her husband or didn't know that she was married, she lives on the other side of the goddamn earth, and she took a plane from where she lived to where you are, and y'all had sex. I fought you personally, but the scripture does not, as far as what I know, does not count you as in fault, as far as what I know. Other than you should have definitely vetted the sister a little bit further. But go ahead, Uncle Dr. Bar.
I don't want to this is 1 Corinthians 7 and 10. Mm-hmm. It says, and unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord.
Go ahead.
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Let not the wife depart from her husband.
Go ahead.
But if she depart, let her remain unmarried.
That's right.
Or be reconciled to her husband.
Be reconciled, meaning what? If you decide that some act that happened and you don't want to be with that man no more, the Lord require you not to sleep with another person. He require you to keep it all tight and not to ever marry again. Go ahead.
On the woman's side.
On the woman's side, a man can have as many women as he wants. As many women as he wants, as long as those women are not attached to another man. That's in the Bible. Go ahead.
And then, like, to the question that was on there, and it said, if the wife depart from her husband, this scripture said, let not the wife depart from her husband.
Meaning, it's not lawful for a woman to leave her husband. But if she do leave her husband, she is not to have sex with another man ever. If she don't want her head cut off. That's what the scripture says.
So would she be still?
Would she still? Go ahead.
Would she still be? I guess going by the law, if she just shut it down and just don't do nothing.
Well, let me tell you how it would go in the biblical days. If she wanted to leave, you know what she would leave with? Just the clothes on her back. I don't care if she entered to that marriage as a millionaire. The only thing she used to leave with is the clothes on her back. I believe that's in the Bible. That's it. I don't believe there is no. Well, I know there is no exception for a woman leaving her husband and taking anything from him. It's not his children, not his wealth, not his homes, not even the clothes that he bought you. That's not in the Bible. It's so serious, man. And we gotta come out of the Christian way of thinking about matrimony, because the Lord never intended for a woman to sleep with a man and then go have to sleep with another man. You know that feeling that you have, even though you met her, she already had 2 kids. You met her, she was already having sex. It's a feeling that every man has when he knows somebody else been there. Women don't realize that. Women don't realize the mind of a man. He considers all of that. That's why in the UPK, we know that once you come in here, you're totally clean. And just as much as you have to forget who I was in my past, I have to forget who you were in your past. And if I start thinking hard enough, I guarantee you, what I'm going to think about you is far more disgusting than what you're going to think about me. So it behoove a woman to come in here and if you're going to get married, you better scrutinize it correctly the first time and then follow what Christ says in that Bible. Because the minute you start, drawing on his past, guess what? We got to consider about your musty ass as well. All of the bodies that you got. You see how promiscuous these women are on social media? You think they're just shaking their tail for nothing? Salakia, sisters, I ain't banging on y'all, but I'm just saying, consider the men you sleep with. Go ahead.
Come on. Salakia, so in that case with the stipulation, if the sister he's speaking of is an unbeliever, then him not being, I forgot.
Just because you believe don't mean that the effects of the Most High is nullified. You know what I mean? I think the main point in his question is he still obligated to a woman that, like a lot of us, man, would forgive a woman for infidelity? You know what I'm saying? What you got is a demon on you to even ask a question like that. Woman step out there and sleep on you, man. What is your problem? That actually is your opportunity out. Because more than likely, she's a big-ass burden, just like the rest of the sisters, man. You come with all your heavy load, and good men take it and try to heal you and try to raise you up. That's what we do. And the misconceptions that's out there about black men, I don't believe none of them no more. Because I know y'all. I know the heart of every man in this classroom, man. And ain't none of y'all pigs and dogs. Have you made mistakes? Of course. But based on what the world has placed on the heads of black men, it's all bullshit. Now women buy into that crap. You brothers right here are nowhere near as bad as they claim you to be. I know you personally. All right? Go ahead, Kazak.
I had a question kind of pertaining to that question a little bit. So, okay.
Hold on, if you could, before you do that. Mm-hmm. What was the last part of his question?
You got that other mic? Where is it?
Y'all stop me if I'm too long-winded.
What if it's multiple men she slept with?
She's a hoe. Give me what Christ said. Who got that one, man? What Christ said, woman, you've had 5 husbands. It sounds like what the question this brother is asking. Like, who is her husband? This woman don't have no husbands, man. She's a hoe. Go ahead.
This is John 4:18.
I believe this was a fake, a woman lying about who her forefathers was. This is a white woman claiming to be the children of God. Go ahead.
This is John chapter 4, verse 15. Uh-huh. The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
Go a verse or two above
that. Salakia, 12, sir, or 13?
A verse or two above it.
First two, okay. This is John 4:13. Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
Okay.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Okay.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw.
Now, if you know the context of the story, the woman approached Christ and he told her to fetch him some water. And she said to him, I'm a Samaritan. We don't have nothing to do with you Israelites, basically. And Christ said to her, well, if you knew the water that I would have, or if you knew what I would have given you, had you given me a drink, I would have given you living water. Basically, Christ had a blessing for her. You know what I mean? If had she served him. Keep going.
This is verse 16. Jesus saith unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, This
is a woman that has had sex already. And then once she tired of one man, she went to another man, had sex with him. And when she was tired of him, she went to another man and had sex with him. And when she was tired of him, she went to another man and had sex with him. And when she was tired of him, she went to another man and had sex with him. When the Lord said, when you have sex once, that's your husband forever until he died. You're bound by him until the day you die. That's in the scripture, right? So to the brother, this is just a hoe, man. This is just a hoe. And what is Christ's response? Go ahead.
Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband.
Like the woman that come to you in the club and she say, I ain't got no man. When you look at her and you know she having sex. Right? And you know she's having sex. Right? And Christ said what?
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
You've had how many?
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
And now this is the big cut right here. Go ahead.
And he whom thou now hast is not thy husband.
You came up here, you came in the club with a cat that you having sex with. And the brother's over there lame and he watching you do your thing. And you approaching me telling me you ain't got no man. But that guy over there you brought here, you had sex with him too. This just, and more than likely, man, the brother is just suffering, from dealing with some whole low self-esteem. Your mama ruled the household, man, and your auntie was loud and proud, and your daddy sat in the corner and said nothing about none of it. And now you're a slave to women. That's typically what happens to the average brother. And then he becomes something disgusting in the world after being hurt so much, right? So the short to the brother's question is, she's just a whore, and not for you shouldn't take her so, serious, and then you should do a better job at vetting the women that you sleep with. All right, next question. Go ahead.
I need a breakdown on the chip, sir.
On the what?
On the chip.
What you mean?
I think
Mark of the Beast?
Kind.
Okay, that's a good one. So, all right, let me see where we go first. You got a precept. Because obviously you've been in some discussion with somebody about a microchip being inserted in your forearm or your hand or something like that.
I just forgot the understanding of what was the chip, sir.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I got something. All right, so have you been marked in your forehead? Has anything ever marked you in your forehead? Anybody? Anybody in here marked on their forehead? You've been marked in your forehead? On the Thunder Ward, Most High in Christ. What they mark you with? They put that. You remember the Damien movie? Who ever seen that? Am I just dating myself? I'm dating myself. Y'all don't remember the Omen? Oh my God! Y'all, you remember the Omen? The little boy named Damien, and when they peeled his little hair back, he had 666 written in his forehead, which, according to Christian theology, is the mark of the beast. 666 written in your forehead, right? All of it is hogwash. You know what I'm saying? None of that is really what the Bible meant by marking a man in his forehead. All right, so I'm gonna give you some precepts. Give me the one. Let's start with the mark of the Lord first. What is the Lord's mark? Anybody know? Anybody give me a precept? Go ahead, sis. Okay, I like that. So a seal. That's good. So a seal. Can anybody elaborate from her statement that the mark in the forehead is a seal, is a sealing? Not like a sealing, but is it like sealing something up? I just gave y'all, well, she gave everybody a lot of hints right there. Anybody want to take it further? Come on now. Well, she said that the mark of the Lord is a seal, right? Do anybody want, based on what she said, elaborate or pull a precept? Mashah.
For Revelation 7.
Okay.
I'm going to pull Revelation 7. And we're going to start at verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was 12,000. We'll skip down to verse 9. And after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne, and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshiped God.
But I want you to give me an example. What I'm looking for is an example of, like, there's the mark of the beast. What is the mark of the Lord? Or an example in the scripture that you could show me. Zarak. What I'm trying to do is just show you how, show everybody how, how if you just do a little bit of research, you won't be so spooked by the mark of the beast. You won't think it's a tattoo in the goddamn forehead or on the palm. All you got to do is just, look up Mark in the Bible, not Mark the man's name, but Mark.
Come, sir. I got Ezekiel 9:4.
Okay.
And it says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city.
That is a perfect precept right there. Everybody should write this down, because this gives you an opportunity to contrast anybody that's telling you that the mark of the beast is some tattoo. And then if you go back to Revelations is written in what? Is it actual dragons and beasts and things that John is seeing floating in the air, or is he speaking in the spirit? The visions that John is seeing is like, something going on in your head versus something that you see really playing out in his classroom. You understand? So he's having a vision, right? Versus, seeing something in reality. Like, and I always use this analogy right here. if you were in the biblical times, how would you describe a nuclear bomb going off? You would call it what, Kadash Bar?
A fiery arrow.
Nope. That would be your missile. Would be an arrow with fire shooting out the back of it. Right? Go ahead. You would call that would be like them helicopters. You know them helicopters, they got them the painted face on the front of it and they're shooting fire out of it. That would be your dragon, right? What would be your your lake of fire would be your nuclear weapon. Because when you see that nuclear bomb drop, what happens? You see that lake. It's almost like a rock dropping in the middle of water and you seeing that ripple effect, right? So John is seeing this and he has to describe it in a way that we can articulate, that we can understand, right? So that's why he says lake of fire, arrow with fire shooting out of it. What was the other one y'all used? We used dragon. You know what I mean? Missiles and on planes and helicopters shooting. You know, they got them M6. What's them on them helicopters? M60s. Mashah? Yeah, you see all that fire shooting out of them. That's the dragon, and that's what John was seeing, describing as a dragon. He was seeing the end of the world, right? In all the warfare. So he has to describe it in a way that he don't know it's a goddamn nuclear bomb, so he got to call it the lake of fire. He don't know it's a damn helicopter, he call it a dragon, because it's shooting fire, right? Etc. So that is not he's describing something in the spirit, but he's not saying it literal. So you cannot, just as that is a spiritual depiction of what he's saying in a vision, right? The same for the mark of the beast, right? So what is the mark of the Lord in your breakdown, Zerah?
Khan, sir. So it says Ezekiel 9:4, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry.
And how did he set this mark? How were you marked? Think about that. Every man in this room would claim to be marked by the Lord, correct? How did that take place? You had to hear a man, correct? Go ahead, because
I would say we was marked when our brains was washed. When all the filth on our minds was washed away and we started to learn the doctrine of the Most High through Commander General Yohanan.
I like that answer right there. That's correct. Commander General Yohanan, I'm glad you mentioned that. Because it takes a man, it takes a prophet, right, to come to you and because you already had something within you that was crying out for the Lord. Right? Read it again from the top, Zerah.
Khan, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations.
So what did Ezekiel do? Did he go and tattoo every man? Sister. Let me give her a hand. Ezekiel went to camp, man. He took a camp out there, man, and every brother that was interested in hearing about the Most High, he taught him. That's what Ezekiel did. The same thing you do every week, man. You go out there and you holler at the top of your lungs in hopes that your words would resonate with a brother that's already crying on the inside. This brother that asked that question, he's crying right now, man. He asked that question on Facebook about some whore that he's captivated by. Come on, man, he's in tears right now. I read that shit, I'm like, man, this brother is hurt big time. So he need a couple words about disgusting hoes. Salakia sisters, y'all know you righteous ones out there. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about them hoes that he's describing in his question. So we go out there to brothers that's downtrodden and hurt and been walked over in this society, man, and we give them the message of the Lord, and we set a mark in their foreheads, much like Ezekiel did. You know, Ezekiel was a prophet, man. The Lord told him to go out there and do his work. And if you know Ezekiel, you know his wife did not want him to do the work of the Lord. But he went out there, man, and marked every man that had an issue with their current circumstances, that was sighing and crying and wondering why life is like it is, man. Where is God at in the midst of this, man? Where is righteousness at, man? And he set that mark. And the mark he set was a spiritual mark, right? He set a mark by teaching the word of the Lord. Much like all you out there that are in the Christian church have been marked with Satan. Satan have marked you believing in all of the stuff that is not true in the Bible, like the law is done away with, like you go out here and sleep with whoever the hell. That's why she does what she did, that she believed in Christianity. Go ahead, Kazak.
What you saying that showing precepts with what the mark is. So if the mark was him going to prophesy.
No, it wasn't him going to prophesy. It's how his prophecy affected them in their foreheads. Okay. What's between your forehead?
Your brain.
Your brain. Before we heard the doctrine of the Most High in Christ, we believed in some aspect of this world, as it relates to God. We believed that, whether we was a Muslim or a Christian or whatever the hell we believed in, that thing had us believing that we understood who God was, which is a mark. Mark is just a metaphor, not metaphor, but is a description of what you're influenced by, the spirit that you push. You see, how we always describe spirit as a motivation, something that compels you to do a certain thing, right? So this mark gonna compel you to believe in Christmas and Thanksgiving and women can jump from man to man if she's not happy. That's what that mark of the beast is gonna compel you to believe in, right? But the mark of the Lord is gonna tell you what? A woman can only have one man as long as he's alive. That a man can't sleep with his neighbor's woman, right? That's what the mark is your, what you align yourself with. That's why the scripture says it's not what goes into the mouth. And if you understand Christ's breakdown, he's talking about it's not what goes into your brain, right? It's not what goes into your mind that defiles you, rather what comes out. Because if something goes in there that you consider nonsense, you'll never repeat it to nobody again. But the thing that you believe in, that you digested and you eat up, that you believe in, you're going to be talking about that crap all the time. And like God bless America, I always use that as an example. When God said, man, this place, man, that has been built to the blood of the Native Indians and the tyranny and the oppression of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, man, is doomed for destruction. Woe unto a city built of blood and a house established through iniquity. This place was built on the blood of the Native Indians and established through the blood, sweat, and tears of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian people. And you sitting up there, God bless America. Oh, hell no. You love this place because you got the mark of the beast between your goddamn ears, believing in America when it's the most disgusting place on the face of the goddamn earth. Kudash the bar.
I got a scripture in 1 Timothy 4, chapter 4, that's speaking sort of the type of, like, when a person's thinking that it's a mark, like a chip, this is speaking what really happens. It says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly, this 4 Timothy chapter 4, the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
That's a heavy precept right there.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Now you want to elaborate? That's a heavy
Con.
Please.
So what are they? Is their conscience literally getting seared with a hot iron? They would be dead if somebody stuck a hot iron on your head. First of all, your conscience is a thought or some form of thinking. It's not even your head. So how do you sear a conscience with a hot iron? That's talking about the real mark that happens with Christianity. When Christianity sears your mind, you can't even get rid of it. We tell you Jesus is black, show you the scripture, and you still talking about
I still struggle. So lucky. If I hear Jesus, I got to get that white boy out of my mind to this day. And that's so disgusting. Because think about over the years that I've been alive, every time Jesus was mentioned, I remember that Cedric Borgia cat. Flocky, go ahead, Brees.
Kind on one kind, so your mind gets seared and permeated with these doctrines of devils, the lies and hypocrisy. It's telling you right here what the mark of the beast is.
One more time, read it from the top. I got you next.
Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits.
So what is a seducing spirit? It's one that, come on over here, man. This feels so much better over here, man. Come on now, you can have your own everything over here. You know what I mean? Think about what it says to men, and then what it says to women. Think about your pain and suffering in the school. Think about what Christ required you to suffer in here. You know? And listen, I suffer, and everybody in this room suffers for Christ. Every last one of us, man. But the seducing spirit is going to tell you, man, it's a lot easier over here. Like all of these other knockoff groups that you hear out here, man, will be a different goddamn group every week. You know what I'm saying? That's a seducing spirit. Man, lead them cats, man. Lead them cats. You can get it all by yourself, man. You can do the same thing in every other zone, man. You know enough. Leave that one West crap, man, that Commander General Yana, man. Let's go form the BUDC. Yeah. Let's go do something else, man. Come on, we know more than them anyway.
And Salakia, what Cap is saying, the seducing spirit is your silly mind. That's why the scriptures say, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. Your brain is the seducing spirit that's telling you, man, you know enough scriptures. You can start your own group.
Start your own camp, man, and get all the money. That nigga Commander General getting all that goddamn tired money. Let us get us some of that good money. What that nigga doing with that money? I know cats out there like that right now, man. And don't know that he paid for the rent here, and the rent in Chicago, and the rent in Indianapolis, man, and the rent in Ohio, and the rent in New York. They don't know of all of the goddamn fishing tools that we use to attract brothers in the school and how much goddamn money it costs. You know how much money that fire weekend, man, cost us, man? And listen, I sit on the board where I know I get every goddamn receipt of what all of these events cost, man. And guess what we try to do every time we have an event like that, man? Just fish a couple brothers in, man, a couple sisters in, man. Mark them, man, like Ezekiel did. That's all. That's what we do. That money, ain't no big rims on nobody's whips out here. Nobody in no goddamn Bentley in the school. And I've said it before, if I could, I'd put Commander General in the Bentley, in the mansion, and everything else he wanted. That's what I would do. But I'm carnal. And obviously the brother is way above me because he's spiritual. He refuses to do something like that. That's our leader. But if it was up to me, shit. Go ahead, Kodash Bar.
So it says, speaking, they shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
I love that part right there because it lets you know the devil ain't that beast that you thought he was. He's intelligent, smart. He got a doctrine. Not just a statement, not just a couple words that he whispered to you. He got a whole plan for your ass, a doctrine, and it's real. And you know what the doctrine is? Christianity. That's the doctrine of the devil, Christianity. Right? Believing in Easter bunnies is the doctrine of the devil. That's his doctrine. Keep going.
Speaking lies and hypocrisy.
Speaking what?
Lies and hypocrisy.
Like Cedric Borgia was the Christ. You know what I mean? Like December 25th was the birth of Christ, and we should celebrate it. That's a goddamn lie. Like your daughters can have sex with all the men on the planet Earth until she go down there and sign a document at City Hall. That's what they telling your little daughters, man. She can shake all that ass on the internet, man, and nobody gonna consider her a whore. And why should they? You got freedom. You a woman. Women's lib. Shaking all of that ass on the internet. in the biggest hole on the block. And guess what? Ain't nothing wrong with you. You go, girl. They just hating on you. That's a seducing spirit right there, man. Brother can go and bang every little girl and little boy too that he want to. And ain't nothing wrong with that, man. That's a seducing spirit. Keep going.
Having their conscience seared.
And you know what that means? Like that searing is when you hear something repetitive and you grow up in it, right? Think about that. Like you grew up in Christianity in the way of this earth right here, man. And you've embraced it. And then like to hear anything else, it's like it's foreign to you right now. It's like, damn, what is he talking about? You know, Christ was, that depiction that Grandma showed me. December 25th is his birthday. Halloween is a good thing for the kids, man. Like growing up being so, the word is indoctrinated, but I want to use another word, but being so heavily involved in the ideology of America, which is Christian Judeo society, supposedly. That's what you believe, right? But really, they're conditioning you to believe in the doctrine of the devil. Keep going.
Having their conscience seared with a hot iron.
Okay.
Forbidding to marry and commanding abstain from meat.
So what is prevalent in the earth right now? You see a lot of vegans, man, telling you that it's a sin for a man to eat meat. Anybody heard that? You ever heard anybody push a doctrine that says you should not eat meat? That meat is bad for your body. You wasn't made to eat meat. I've heard that so much. And what about you can't marry another woman? These are all the things that's going to be prevalent in the latter days. I never heard so much talk about polygamy in my whole life as I'm hearing right now, since One West has spread throughout the whole earth. I've never heard so many discussions about whether or not, and believe it or not, I'm hearing a lot of sisters jump on board with they man should and deserves to have another woman. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard so much discussion about it. But now you got a fringe group that's saying what? Go ahead.
You know, they saying you can't eat meat in the. If I may, the motivation behind, from what I hear, is they saying you can't eat meat, and they blaming the white man and saying, well, we don't want to follow their way. We want to go back to vegetables, when really they don't know that you learn this type of lifestyle from a white man, because they told you that.
But what's the other part in there too, if you could elaborate on that as well?
The abstaining from marriage, that's the part I was trying to get to.
Right, so exactly. So you said meat, but you meant marriage.
Yeah, marriage.
The white man is telling you not to have 5 and 10 women. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Kazak. There you go. And he's at a minus birth rate. If y'all look it up right now, you'll find that the white man is not having as many babies as dying, as their people are dying every day. Right, that's why you see the reversal in the Roe v. Wade. They had nothing to do with all you niggas killing 1,800 babies a day. They love that thing. But it had everything to do with, like, sis, she on her second baby in 6 months. In 6 months, man. She had damn near 2 babies, man. And our sisters are like that. You know who leads the charge in producing babies in America? Hispanics first, then black women. Black and Hispanic women, they ain't holding you up, Esau. And guess what? Esau is so pissed off that he said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and reverse the Roe v. Wade and force white women to have children. Well, you know what you're going to see white women do? Go to the hanger. They're going to go to the gutter. It's probably more, they probably got a lab now. They probably got the anesthesia and all kind of stuff in some makeshift shop right now. Come. What time is it? Okay, most likely correct. We probably gonna go to 7:30. Go ahead.
If I may, sir, we was done with that part. I wanted you to break down the part where it said in their right hand as well.
Oh yeah, no sweat. That's easy. So in our minds, what do we do? In our minds, we agree with American. We agree with Christianity. So what do we do behind every business meeting, behind every agreement? What do we do in America, even if you're left-handed? What do you do? What do your right hand signify at the end of any agreement? What do you do, Kazak?
What do your right hand signify?
In America.
Like
I think it's all over the world now.
Like
this is
taking an
universal.
oath.
But what do you do with your right hand, though? If you agree, there you go. You shake hands. That right hand is a symbol of submission to that thing we've agreed on. It's the, I will do this thing. We've agreed. So he's in here, and then your right hand signify approval or consent. All right. So it has nothing to do. And again, if you understand, John is on a prison island, man. Nothing he's seeing is in the flesh. He's having a vision of things, an allegory. I don't want to say parable, but an allegory. It is a similitude. It is not an actual thing that he's experiencing. So the right hand, every time you see any deal done in America, any deal across the earth, it's what? It's sealed with a handshake. And we don't shake our left hands. We don't do that. Even if you're left-handed, you shake with your right hand. Right? And that is a symbol of agreement to do this particular thing. Everybody understand? So the notion that it's some physical microchip or something like that is hogwash. That's not what that is. Go ahead.
I don't know. This question popped up in my head once you start breaking that down and then hearing the brother's original question. If they believe that the mark of the beast is a chip, what do they believe that the mark of the Most High is?
That's why I brought you that's why I made this the analogy. The mark of the Most High is a spiritual thing. It is what I've said to the majority of the brothers in this room to get y'all to come to class today. I put something in your forehead. And I got that from who? Commander General Yohana, who gets his authority from Christ. So you marked in your forehead as making Thursday available to study the Lord. You marked, man. That's why you're in the class right now. Come on, man. What would you be doing without the truth on your Thursday? And you ain't got to go to work. Some of y'all be at home in the bed, recovering. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all be drinking or whatever. Or smoking the blunt or getting high, shooting crack or whatever. You certainly wouldn't be discussing the Bible if it wasn't for the Israelite School of UPK. Go ahead, Dr.
Khan, I got a precept for the question the brother just asked. He said that if they believe that the mark of the beast is a microchip, what do they believe the mark of the Lord is? And I got an answer and a question.
Go ahead.
They don't even focus on what the mark of the Lord is because they're so scared of the white man. And here goes scripture. Matthew 10:28. Fear not them that's able to kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. They fear the oppressor so much that they worried about the microchip and the mark of him, but they're not worried about following the Lord and receiving the mark of the Lord. They're not even thinking about that. They're thinking about the fear of getting a chip planted in their head. They're so fearful. This is nothing but fear that they have for this oppressor to receive this mark. But they're not thinking about receiving the mark of the Lord.
And to go a little bit further, they've been deceived. Right? You don't realize the concerted effort that our oppressor have the lens that he's gone through to bring us to the state that we are in right now. Like the white man, our oppressor he'll put something in play 200 years ago, just so we would be affected by it today. Because he's not thinking week to week like we think. We think check to check, week to week, month to month, right? Our oppressor, man, has a head start on anything that we can imagine. And he has already plotted your whole life. He did it 1,000 years ago. He did it 400 years ago to bring you to the point where you are right now. He's went through some very, very elaborate plots, man. Think about what the scripture says. The crafty counsel. What you think they was doing in that crafty counsel? They was ironing out step by step what they would do to black, Hispanics, and Native Indian people to make sure that we would never do what? Go back to our God. All right. It's a couple stories that I want to bring out. We got any more questions that I can answer quickly, Michelle?
One question was, could you give a breakdown on the shield?
On the Dawadah?
On the Dawadah.
I mean, what? Are they opposing the Dawadah or?
The officer in the school just asking, can I give a breakdown on the shield?
Okay, let's go. All right, hold on. Let me see what I got right here. Go ahead and make that while I find these precepts.
So what I realized is, because I just got done talking to somebody about the shield, what I realized is what they do is take information from the 1500s and they see George Washington or some Masons using the shield or something, and they take information from the 1500s and they never did any research from the Dark Ages.
Somebody look up Signet. Go ahead.
When black people ruled over Europe, and if they did research from before we came over here, they would realize the black people in Europe that had the Bible already was wearing the shield also. So it's like a disconnection of history that they done did research on.
Go ahead, Nathan. Signet, Khan.
A small seal, especially one set in a ring.
Okay, now somebody find Signet in the Bible. Hold that where you got. Read it one more time.
Signet, a small seal, especially one set in a ring, used instead of or with a signature to give authentication to an official document.
Most High in Christ. Give me 2nd Ezra 10 and 23.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 10, verse 23, sir. Verse 23. And which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion, have now lost her honor.
Read that definition again. Nathan?
Signet, a small seal, especially one set in a ring.
Read it again, Kazak.
Khan. And which is the greatest of all, the seal of Zion, have now lost her honor.
Okay, so let me break down how the seal of Zion has now lost her honor, which is David's signature. You're defining what that seal is. It's the Dawadah, right? It is the Da inverted and then encapsulated with the Wa, right? So if you look at, I wish I had a pencil and a piece of paper that people can see a marker preferably, right? If you look at the Dawadah, you know the Da is shaped like that right there, like a triangle, and then inverted would be an upside down triangle. When you put the two together, you see the what they call a 6 point, right? Which is really the signature of King David. David used to, I don't know if anybody know about how historically we would seal a letter that needed to go from one end of the earth to the other. And if it was a king sending that letter, he would put a little wax on the tip of that envelope where it comes together with the other part of the envelope, and then put his signature in it, which would be his ring, right? So for the brother that asked the question, that is just it's a seal to let everybody know this is the man that sent this letter, and I dare you to open it up. That's really what that means. It shows everybody on the earth that this is King David's signature. So read your definition one more time, and then I'm gonna come to you. Okay, go ahead, Kudash Tabar.
Okay, got the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Now, when I looked up signet, it said see seal. So I went to seal. In the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 531, it says a device bearing a sign, name, or other word so that it can be impart an impression in relief upon a soft substance like clay or wax.
That's what we just broke down.
Used as a mark of authority or authenticity on letters.
To let you know, do not open this up unless you're going to answer to King David if it's not your name on the address. That's what that seal means. Everybody calling the shield of David a star don't know that the Bible defines the star as a ball of gas. The circle of the star, the circle of the sun, the circle of the star. I believe one of the two is in the Bible. Right? Go ahead, Kazak.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 2. But deemed either fire or wind, or the swift air, or the circle of the stars.
Or the what?
Circle of the stars.
And our sun is a what?
Circle.
Our sun is a star. And the Bible describes a star as a what?
Circle.
Not as a six-pointed, the shield of David, the signature of David, man. So it's a few more precepts on there. But let's read the one more time in 2 Ezra 10 and 23 to just top it off, and we're going to move on. 2 Ezra 10 and 23, please.
This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 10, verse 23. And which is the greatest of all? The seal of Sion have now lost her honor.
Now I got one question about the seal of Sion losing its honor. Can anybody break that down for me? Barack,
It loses honor by these gangs. They using the shield of David as a signal of their gang.
Give him a hand. That's a good one right there. Any other, because you know you got the GDs out there that has desecrated the seal of Zion as well. You know, niggas tend to do what? Follow who? The doctrine of the devil. So they picked that symbol up, man, because Hoover understood who he was, believe it or not, and wanted to use that powerful symbol to try to rally, you know, men to his position. Go ahead.
I missed the question, so what did you ask?
My question is, how has the seal of Sion lost its, read it again?
And which is the greatest of all? The seal of Sion have now lost her honor.
How has it lost her honor? That's absolutely correct. And you know what else? It's because we've desecrated it as well. We've chosen other things to align ourselves with. You know, we wear that damn cross around our neck. We wear the symbol that our Lord was, our King was crucified on, as a symbol of honor or something like that. How you wear the electric chair around your neck that Uncle Bob was executed on? They killed my uncle 15 years ago on the electric chair in Texas, right? Wear his, you know, like death row. Wear that electric chair around your neck. That was never a symbol of righteousness, was it? It always indicated some form of evil in some way, shape, form, or fashion, right? Even death row wearing it around their neck. You knew them niggas was talking about, you know, they would kill you and face the electric chair. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't care about going to the penitentiary. That's what that death row symbol meant. You wear an electric chair around your neck, that's what that Christian cross is. It represents all your people that was executed by the Romans, man, using that name. Go ahead, Kazak.
For she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us.
You see that? The seal has been delivered into the hands of them that hate us, man. You know who hate us more than anybody on the earth? Is the people pretending to be us. That's right. That's how it's desecrated right now. All right, so if the brother got another question on it, man, go ahead. Go ahead with the story. Hold on, Slocky. Any other questions? You guys come with any questions today? Sisters? Okay. You know, it is one thing that I wanted to just touch down on real quick. Is on, like, I made a statement, I believe, week before last, and it was pertaining to how gruesome our oppressor is, right? And sometimes, man, I'm not as gentle with my expressing as I should, right? I don't get a lot of ladies and young women in the class, so sometimes I need to kind of tone it down. And what I said, I made a statement last week, or week before last, pertaining to how they treated our young girls and our women in slavery, right? Like Thomas Jefferson, who familiar with his memoirs, right? He wrote a memoir where he professed his sickness for what? Read it again. For underage girls, right? And I made a statement with him in mind last week, and I said that back then he would have had his way with our children, right? With our young girls, right? And I probably should have kind of toned that down a little bit, but I just want everybody to understand. For me, you know, I see these bastards for who they are, and sometimes it's a little difficult for me to kind of land that ship in the way that it should be, and that's something maybe I shouldn't have said so overtly. I should have used some other means, saying that our class is becoming more diverse in terms of our age. You know what I mean? So Salakia to the sisters that heard that right there. But the white man is the goddamn devil, and I hate his ass for everything he's done to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. All right, Salakia. Go ahead, Mashal, with the first story.
What you want to start with the old one?
Let's start with the one about where he caught the where the police pulled the brother over and told him, "This is why y'all die." Go dash the bar.
Transition. So I got one. That is the one.
Oh, you couldn't find that one?
That we couldn't find.
Okay, all right. We'll save that one for last week. Let's go with Joe Biden. And did you pull Earlyman's statement?
I'll pull that while they're playing.
Okay, let's hear what Joe Biden got to say about crack versus anything else. Go ahead. You got it? Just play it when you get it. You remember those three that I wanted you to play in a row, or those four? Just go ahead and start with however you got it laid out, all in a row.
James Elliott's Rocking Gems for White Folks.
I can't really hear it. Can you cut that up?
That was racist teaching. I would not have accused myself of teaching racist method. That was the curriculum that we taught. I taught the curriculum. So what I was doing was not educating.
So you can stop it right there. So right now in America, I don't, you know, it's back to school season, right? And I don't know if everybody been paying attention. And there is this big debate about whether or not they should teach critical race theory. And what critical race theory is, it's letting white folks know, because largely they ignorant to what they actually did in slavery, believe it or not. You got a bunch of white folks out here believing that they took care of our children. You got a lot of white folks believing that it was in our best interest to migrate from wherever the hell we were to over here and go through those 300-400 years of oppression, whips and rape and torture and lynchings, etc. Right? So critical race theory is a ideology that will set that imbalance straight. Meaning it would let white folks know exactly what they did in slavery and the ramifications of it that plays out through our lives to this day. The effects of their injustice upon us. Critical race theory would allow them to understand exactly what they've done to us. All right? But you got an opposing faction that wanted to keep white folks in the dark about what they've actually done to black people. Right? And if you could, Mashab, pull up the story about the Floridians and how the teachers are being indoctrinated to kind of dumb down the effects of slavery.
In 2021, Governor DeSantis announced $106 million to establish something called the Civic Literary Excellence Initiative.
The Civil Literary Excellence Initiative. Go ahead.
Held a series of trainings for public school teachers. Each section was held over the span of 3 days. And teachers, they were paid $700 to attend them, which for Florida public school teachers, who are the third lowest paid teachers in the country, $700 is a pretty tempting sum, especially for teachers who are new to teaching. One of those early career teachers, a Broward County government teacher with 1 year.
Pause it right there. So we had one teacher that attended this training session that recognized that they were trying to, as I just pointed out, just change the whole narrative of slavery and how it impacted us, right? And she was in this class, and she's like, "Oh hell no! I know that I know black folks, and I know that what was done to them has affected them in a large way that kind of opposes this training." Because what they want teachers to do now is not call it the transatlantic slave trade, but call it the transatlantic migration, as if it was our like we say, okay, I'd rather be over there with you under your whip than to walk around Africa with a bone in my nose, with a straw skirt on, as if we said to them, I'd rather be up under you in a better country than to endure this hill of Africa, which is all hogwash. That never happened. Go ahead. No, hold on. Look what Dr.
Then, with that type of thought process, it seemed like they just attacking black people because you couldn't say that same thing about the Indians when it's just a fact that you came over here and stole their land. You can't say that they migrated and wanted to be up under you. The Indians was over here by themselves minding their own business, and here come some Europeans that like stealing. So they could probably try to say that about black people, but they couldn't use that same narrative on the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, or any other of
well,
the
they can't.
tribes.
And I want to correct you, right? We're not Africans, man.
Right.
We wasn't over there, eating flies and using as lotion. Right. No brother gonna put no crap on his skin. That's no lotion. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't over there, swinging through the goddamn trees like Tarzan. That wasn't us. We are the establishers of civilization, man. Right. We showed them how to watch themselves. So this narrative, man, that we was the savages, just like you believe Christ was a white man. Those two go hand in hand. The same trick they played on you to get you to believe that Christ was a white man is the same one they tricked you to believe that we was running around Africa savages, man, eating bodies. That wasn't black folks, man. That might have been them goddamn Hamites. But niggas established the richest lands in Africa. Egypt to boot. Timbuktu. We established all of those places, man. We taught the white man how to clean himself when he was sleeping with his chickens and his goats. How to corral his animals from where he lay his head, man. I think that's the biggest misconception about who we are versus who African people are. You know what I'm saying? We had Moses, man. You know what I'm saying? We had Joseph. We taught the Egyptians, man, how to live a better life. When we entered into Egypt, man, it became a haven, man. It became very, very wealthy. Without Joseph, Egyptians would have starved to death. We taught them how to store food. You know what I'm saying? So don't think for a minute that this narrative that we was over there swinging from goddamn vines is true. National Geographic, you can pull that story right now. They've apologized. If you could, find National Geographic apology to black folks. This is going to crystallize it right here. They lied about what we were doing over there in Africa. They had these images of of niggas right in somewhere in America. They go in there and film and act like it was goddamn the Congo some goddamn where. When they really in the hood. I go right here and make you think that Hazel Ridge is Africa. Tell me I can't. All the weeds and bushes and the deer running around that joke. I'd make you think that was Africa. And that's what National Geographic did. Made black people think that we was swinging around in Africa, man, from goddamn vines in the tree. When really we taught them how, when they got over here, what did the Indians and the Levites that was with the Indians teach the white man? How to fucking plant corn, man. How to live over here throughout the winter. We taught them everything, man. And now all of a sudden, you know, we the savages. Salakia. Because you find that article? No, you got to find it somewhere else, though.
Salakia, sir. The first one I wanted to say was, it kind of with the what they call it when they take critical race theory, it further proves who we are and that we are the people of the Bible, because the Bible also says that we shall be discontinued from our heritage, and they continue to chop out our history as we go.
That's an excellent point right there. We should be discontinued from our heritage, and you look at what we're doing right now. Every other heritage is ours except ours. I mean, the Lord said we will not consider. He said the ox know of his own and the ass his master's crib, but Israel do not know. They will not consider. We won't even consider that we are the creme de la creme of the Lord's chosen. We won't consider that we his people, man. We're going to believe that we pieces of crap before we believe that we belong to God, man. You find that article yet? Please read it for me. We're going to move on right into this. I'm going to break it down real quick. This critical race theory, I think, is going to be one of the, I think it's going to be a critical issue, man, moving forward, man, for black folks, man. And I believe they're going to win. I believe they're going to win and be forbidden to teach the horrific atrocities that we faced in America. All right? Read it a little bit for me if you could, Mashal.
It is November 2nd, 1930. The National Geographic has sent a reporter and a photographer to cover a magnificent occasion, the crowning of Haile Selassie, King of Kings of Ethiopia, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. There are trumpets, incense priests, spear-wielding warriors.
All of this is this is intended for you to be distracted. Jump down to the point about the apology. This is going to be further down in the article.
Where did she go? If a ceremony in 1930 honoring a black man had taken place in America instead of Ethiopia, you can pretty much guarantee there wouldn't have been a story at all. Even worse, if Haile Selassie had lived in the United States, he would almost certainly have been denied entry into our lecture in segregated Washington, D.C.
So what they saying, the only reason why they gave light to this story because it was so goddamn ridiculous. You ever see something that they speak about black people where you kind of embarrassed about? They do that so everybody can be embarrassed. For black people, or you being a black person, be embarrassed and never want to be associated with that thing again. This is a manipulation tactic to get you to hate yourself and align more with who they are, because they claim it, right? Because they're more righteous, because they're better than you. Go ahead.
Khan. According to Robert M. Poole, who wrote Explorer's House, the National Geographic Explorer's House, National Geographic, and the World It Made, African Americans were excluded from membership, at least in Washington, through the 1940s. I'm the 10th editor of National Geographic since its founding in 1888. I'm the first woman and the first Jewish person, a member of two groups that also once faced discrimination here. It hurts to share the appalling stories from the magazine's past.
So they're saying it hurts to what? To what?
To share the appalling stories.
The appalling stories. Go ahead.
From the magazine's past.
From the National Geographic's past, right? So what they would do is they would put these images out there of black folks in Africa, and they put those images out there to make sure that you understood that you were nothing. They put these stories out there to make sure that you understood that you was nothing, so that you would never ever want to go back somewhere else, and that you would be a willing participant in America. So these are the things that they want to put out there, as opposed to letting you know that you're just a goddamn slave and you've been a slave in America and the atrocities that they committed upon you, right? Keep going, Michelle. Go more with the news story.
So like they cut us off from that. They only gave us so much.
Okay, now go to the next one then. About the Florida.
She went to a training in June. 3 days later, disturbed by what she'd witnessed.
No, that's it right there.
She blew the whistle on these teacher training sessions, and other teachers started talking too. They noticed that one big theme running through the 3 days of courses was an emphasis on Christianity. One teacher said, quote, there was a very strong Christian fundamentalist way towards analyzing different quotes and different documents. That was concerning. Another teacher said there was this Christian nationalism philosophy that was just baked into everything that was there. They got a hold of some of the slides they used in those trainings. They tell some of the story of what happened, but not all of it. So, we took a trip down to Florida to find out what exactly has been happening to public education under the stewardship of Governor Ron DeSantis. I sat down with Tatiana Album, the teacher who blew the whistle on those civics trainings, and she walked me through what the state of Florida wanted her to teach students about one of the most fundamental principles of our government, the thing that many people believe makes America America, the separation of church and state. Session purpose, articulate the founder's view of
So everybody familiar with the separation of church and state, right? Pause there real quick. Nobody, well, the government agreed, right, in our Constitution that because of what they had came from, right, you had to believe in anything the English people told you was your religion, your religious basis, right? So much like the Muslims over there in, in Arab land right there. If you don't believe in Allah, they cut your goddamn head off. So over here, when the founding fathers, right, established this country, they said, well, we're going to be a different institution. We're not going to force anybody to believe in our religious beliefs. In fact, anybody in America can believe in whatever the hell they want to believe in. That's in our Constitution. The separation of church and the state, meaning the government that establishes rules for the country, right? The government can't say that you got to be a Christian. But in fact, in Florida right now today, as we just heard, they trying to push more of a Christian ideology, more of indoctrinating you into Christ was Cedric Borgia, that the water baptism is real, that the Immaculate Conception is real, that white people are the foremost authority on God and Christ, etc. That's what they're pushing in the southern states, right? But it is absolutely opposed to the Constitution that this country was built on. Kazak, you got something?
That's real heavy because once again they chopping out real Black, Native, and Hispanic history, and then they trying to bring back the Christian Crusades.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
And Salaki, that seemed like a manipulation tactic to me. It's almost like I'm not trying to steal from you, but I just needed this money. It's like you have them talking about separating the church from the state, but you got Christianity floating all around and it's coming out of my nose.
Well, hold on. Let me just clarify something. You can anybody in America, the president, can be whatever religion he wants to based on the Constitution. But what you can't do is force the people based on the laws that's written in the government to align themselves with one particular religion or over another.
Right.
So the separation of church and state, meaning the separation of religious practices from what we establish as rules in our country. But based on what they're doing in Florida, they indoctrinating these teachers to do what? Be more Christian, to be more Cedra Borgia, more Christmas trees and Easter bunnies. Imagine us sending our kids to a school in Florida. You know what I mean? Well, we ain't standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. We ain't aligning ourselves with the adoption of America or Easter bunnies and none of that crap. Imagine the hell that our kids will go through in Florida. You see what I'm saying? So the narrative, if I could, no, Kazak, go ahead. I want you to speak. The narrative is to get us to forget our own beliefs and go with the doctrine that's been established by America, which is horrible for our kids, man. If you just think about the implications of believing more in Christianity. And the reason it's such a heavy push right now because that bastard know his time is up, man. Based on that, we just had Passover in Florida. That bastard seen all of them rockets and everything shooting off at the Passover. And all the niggas from all over the country merging on Florida, and they got to do something quick, man. Kazak.
Come on, sir. I was it's really crazy hearing that because even with my son at my son's school, the school called me basically telling them they gave him in school suspension because they were doing something for Christmas, and he wouldn't do it. And the teacher was like, "Well, just do this, and that way you fit in." He was like, "No, my father told me not to do it."
There you go.
And he kept refusing, so they called me in order for me to accept them. I had to go up to the school, cuss the principal out, and let them know I told him not to do none of it,
right.
and told them not to try to force him to do any of it.
That's right.
And the principal came to me with the vice principal and was like, well, maybe you could just allow him to do this. I'm like, none of it. In that case, I could take him out the school and put him in another school that can hear what I'm saying.
That's right.
And then they accepted it and then sent a letter home with him asking me to sign papers for him not to do it.
That's right. Now that's garbage too, man. You know what we got to do? Like, we should have homeschooling right next door, right here. During regular class hours, we have our kids taught right here, man. You know what I mean? And then it's crazy. It's lucky. Do we want to keep going on that? Mashak, give me the next story. Not the next story, but the next slide on what was the next thing that we had lined up? Okay, Tom Hanks going to elaborate on why it's so important to not have critical race theory. I know it's going to seem unorthodox, but when you hear what he got to say, it's going to resonate. Go ahead. Rewind that so everybody can hear it. Pause. Tom Hanks said it was a paper of some sort that he read about a 100-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Massacre. When he heard that, he was like, what the hell is the Tulsa Massacre? If anybody not familiar with Tom Hanks, he's a major Hollywood producer. He'd been in Hollywood making movies and actor since he was a baby. Right, real famous cat, man. Smart, articulate, excellent actor, man. And believe it or not, I personally, he's one of my all-time greats in terms of white actors, right? Kazak. Forrest Gump, and who else? The cat. You remember my man? You seen Castaway? Where he? Where's that? Yeah, he was stranded on that water, and Wilson, that ball. That was his best friend. That was an excellent movie. It was only one man damn near in the whole movie. So he's an excellent actor. There's some other things that he's done, but he said he heard of a story about a 100-year-old survivor of the Tulsa Massacre, and he was like, Tulsa Massacre? What the hell is that? Now, this goes to show you that critical race theory is needed. Because he's like, what is a Tulsa Massacre? You know, my father was born during that time. Why didn't I hear about this Tulsa Massacre? Keep going. Stop. Stop. He said he heard about Little Bighorn, the Alamo, the OK Corral, all those historical, a conquest of a small pocket of white men overthrowing some large, force. He heard about all of this shit. Excuse my language. He heard about it all. Why didn't I hear about this little old lady that survived a massacre 100 years ago? Why didn't I hear about that? And he said when he realized that he hadn't heard about that, it pissed him off. Keep going. Stop. He said he didn't hear about one of the most successful black communities burned to the ground. You see that big building that they showed? One of the most successful communities of black folks. Now think about this, y'all. I gotta give you a little backdrop. This is 1921, right? Slavery was from 1865 to, from 1779 to 1865, right? That's 100 years or so, 200 years, right? So we were at the end of being whipped and beat to death and having to work for free. So what you think black men and women were doing at that time? Well, now we ain't got to work for nobody for goddamn free. I can go out there and utilize all the talents, right, that I've mustered from being a slave for 20 years. Now think about it. The white man want his stuff done perfect. So if I'm a craftsman in some sort, right, I'm making sure that I'm honing in my craft every day. I'm becoming more proficient at my work. So at the end of slavery, who had the most talent? Who was the most gifted in the world, man? You got to perfect your craft at the end of a whip, goddammit, versus somebody that's on their own volition. If you don't make sure that these horseshoes is made perfectly, or these blocks is made so straight, right, you're going to get your ass beat. You're going to get lynched or killed. So guess what you making sure, or your daughter or your woman, that's what you making sure you do during that period of time in slavery. You making sure you the perfectionist of your craft. You the best of the best. And then they end slavery. You know who the people they was playing all over the world to make things? You know who they was paying? Just like you got commerce right now. You got goods that ship from that country to this country, from this country to you know who was shipping more stuff back then? You niggas, man. Y'all was the ones that was making everything and supplying the world with everything. That's why your communities, that's the little known secret in America. That's why your communities flourished while theirs did what? Tanked. Who was jumping out the windows in 1921? Killing themselves because the stock market had crashed. You better look that up, man. In history, it's called what is the Great Depression? But who was not depressed during the Great Depression? Niggas was not depressed, man. The whole world was soliciting us for our talent, man. We was making major come-ups, man. And you know what that goddamn devil had to do? He had to catch you coming home from work, man, or closing your business up. We 10 of them and there's one of you. It took 20 of them for me back in the day. I think I remember that. 20 or 30 of them cats had to get me. But it was the same way with the majority of y'all. It wasn't no one or two of them walking up on you. Because you was strong. And you know what they did to y'all? They caught you, man, and then hung you. And did some, cut your body parts piece, man. Had picnics on niggas, man. And that's how they, you know, stifled your come up. Because you know what we didn't do back then in 1921? We ain't had no love for them bastards, man. We ain't share our dollar with them. We hire a brother. I trained a brother that was a goddamn paraplegic before I give a white man some goddamn money. He do half the job that white man could do. I'm hiring that brother. That's how we was. We hated that goddamn bastard. And you know what he realized he had to do? He had to make us love him again. He had to come in and be our savior after lynching and murder and the apartheid of Black Wall Street. He had to go in there and establish, the government established the Ku Klux Klan. You know why he had to do that? Because if there was no terrorists in the community, we would be flourishing right now. Your condition is by design, black man. It's all by design. Go ahead, Kazak.
I just was trying to piggyback on something you were saying. Like even till this day, right? When you go into a slavery, I done been in a lot of slaveries. It's not no little, like I see a lot of black young people and black young men and black young women. I barely see a pack of white boys working at these factories.
Not at no hard labor joint.
Not at the hard labor. It's just us.
Hey, I went to Iowa. My job sent me to Iowa. Cornfield, Iowa. I didn't think I would see 8 nigga anywhere. And guess what? There was nothing but Negroes on the goddamn on the killing floor. In corn-fed Iowa, and all of them was bigger than me. I'm like, God damn, these some big old corn-fed Negroes down here. I'm riding through the neighborhood. I see Kellogg's this and Kellogg's that. Everything is made of corn. I'm looking like the small guy in the plant. These niggas as big as a mug now.
Like, if I may, sir. This period was a time marker for the first airstrike in America too, as well, right, sir?
Wakan. So I was just gonna say what you bringing out is extremely heavy, and one of the main core reasons why I come into the truth because of my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Well, listening to Christianity is gonna lead you down the road of listening to what America wants you to listen to. When you actually go into the Bible shows and proves to you that your people is destroyed. It proves to you that your people went into slavery in America. It proves to you that you're going to get the reparations from God. You know what I'm saying? And the people that did these things to us are actually going to pay for it and suffer at the end. Well, all we got to do is hold up our end of the bargain.
Contributions of the whole entire. This mic is off. What about now? Is it still off? Okay. All right. It's off again? What about right now? What about now? Still on?
Now it's on.
Okay, most high Christ. No, it's good now. It's good now. I pushed it in there. Okay. So let's. So just to crystallize my point, in the whole earth, they're gonna start in the south, but if it's successful in the south, they're gonna try to push it more east and west, right? And finally, till it's covering the whole United States of America, right? What they do not want to do is teach people what Tom Hanks learned in that interview about Black Wall Street. And then if you study Black Wall Street, the next thing you're going to do is study all the atrocities committed against black people coming out of slavery. And the majority of the earth, my last point, believe that we didn't try to do anything coming out of slavery. That we didn't try to make a come up. That's what the earth believed. That we was just, after slavery, we just sat on the corner and said, huh? With all of them skills, we just said, what to do next. That's what the majority of the earth believed, man. When you had innovators in our communities, man, listen, not only did we have our own police force, we had our own municipality, our own court system. We had, in that same town, we had airports, right? We had train stations that we built our goddamn stuff. You understand that? We had everything, every provision that they didn't have. We created everything first. Even the goddamn car we created. Patent Car Company, look it up, man. We created the first automobile, believe it or not. And the traffic light to govern auto traffic. You know how they capitalized on it? By mass producing automobiles. That's what Henry Ford did. He figured out a way to create a goddamn assembly line and mass produce cars. Go ahead, Natazar.
So like if I could, it wasn't even him that created this.
Please.
It was George Washington Carver.
Ain't that something, man? Who was his? Give me my hand. Because George Washington Carver, y'all study that brother right there, George Washington Carver. He assisted the white man in maybe 90% of your technology right now. From textiles. All your car interior, all of that, them soft textiles that come from plant. George Washington Carver did that, man. And you know what they did to that brother? You know why? If you ever heard his voice, you know what he sound like? Come on, sister.
They castrated him.
Man, give her. She studied George Washington. They castrated that brother. You know why his slave master castrated him? You know, sis? That is part of it, but he was afraid that he would be in there with his wife and his daughter. So a slave master clipped him. That's what we endured, man, right there. That right there make me want to clip some people. You know what I'm talking about? I want to clip me 1,000 people today. Because this brother was brilliant. All right? Go ahead.
You know what's crazy? I'm from Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. And the only thing they taught, they real big on Black history. And the only thing I was ever taught about George Washington Carver was that he was the peanut man.
Yeah, ain't that something? I was just about to say that he created peanut butter. Man, George Washington Carver could go in and take a dandelion and smell it and tell you we can make glue out of this. He going like, yeah, he was so talented. He was so in tune with, with substances that's naturally created in the earth and what was necessary to make them into things like this vinyl right here that's around our scroll. Right? Think about your car interior, your steering wheel. So many things. Slocky, I'm doing a brother a disservice, but he was absolutely phenomenal. But when you hear his voice and you know what she know that she brought out today, man, that it hurts your heart because they cut that brother. That's why he don't have any children today. That's why he don't have any offspring because they castrated him. Go ahead, sis.
So when you were talking about earlier about how white people used to have picnics at lynchings.
Yes.
It made me think about how I remember seeing a video where somebody had pointed out that there was a book that was made and it talked about how to cook Black people and
Man-eater
and make us into furniture.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They still got in the South where you from. They still got nigga skin books down there. They say it again. Say it again. They got in the halls of some collegiate institutions. I don't know about Harvard.
I think it was
It wasn't Harvard. It's Oxford. Harvard is a Black institution. It's Oxford, one of them rich white institutions, and they won't give up the book. It was a sister that went to battle with them to get. Was it a scan of her people or a picture? It was something. Salaki, don't quote me on that one. But she's correct, and you're correct as well. That in some of these institutions that was alive during slavery, in some of their libraries, they still got nigga skin books, man. I promise you, man. They still got nigga skin. They made books out of your skin, out of your anatomy, your other areas and stuff right there. They got all kind of books out of your tissue up here, sisters. They got water jugs made out of those, and then they got some other stuff, man. You know what they used to do to us? They used to clip us and put us in the pickle jar and put it in the goddamn window of their stores. That's why they don't want critical race theory taught in the American grade school, because if they start talking about that, you know what they're going to see? Your little white girls and boys going to be like looking at their parents and their great grandparents like, damn, y'all was some savages. And you talk about what Black people are doing right now. Y'all was the real monsters. I want to go to the next story, but I'm gonna let you go ahead with what you got to say next. Give him a hand. We covered it. Go ahead, Mashal. Let's hit the next story real quick.
Next one is, I think this is Chiquita.
That the U.S. Marines invaded Haiti in 1915. Did you know that the U.S. Marines invaded Haiti in 1915 and went straight to the Haitian National Bank and removed all its gold reserves to Citibank in New York City? Do you know where the term Banana Republic comes from? No, it's not just a clothing brand. This is the term from the early 1900s that was given to the brutal and corrupt puppet regimes the U.S. installed in Central America, so that companies like United Fruit, now Chiquita Banana,
Stop.
Could super
Can you
look carefully?
Hold on. Can you continue where you were at?
How would you like to use?
So Chiquita Banana, just give you some backdrop, right? They changed their name to Chiquita Banana. Before they was Chiquita Banana, they were a oppressive institution that went into Haiti and forced the people to work for free. Beat them, lynched them, raped them, robbed them, cut them open, and just was so brutal with Black folks. This is another reason why critical race.
Did you know that the U.S. Marines in
That's what.
1950.
No, this is the reason why critical race theory is opposed in America, and they want you to believe that you just migrated over here voluntarily. It's because if you get to digging deep into some of these institutions right now, like Chiquita Banana, you buy that crap right now. Some of y'all got some Chiquita Banana on your counters in the kitchen right now. Some of you support Chiquita Banana products. Go ahead, Michelle.
Right? Between 1903 and 1925, in a period known as the Banana Wars, the U.S. invaded Honduras 7 times.
Honduras.
But that was such a long time ago.
That's your place, ain't it,
The U.S.
sis?
and Latin America have become compadres, right? Okay, fast forward from World War II to the present. In 1954, after a popular nationalist leader in Guatemala tried to redistribute some of the United Fruit Company's unused land, the CIA had him overthrown and replaced by a U.S.-trained colonel who went on to torture and kill thousands. In 1961, the U.S. tried to overthrow the new government in Cuba in the Bay of Pigs invasion. In 1965, the U.S. invaded the Dominican Republic to crush a rebellion and install a new pro-U.S. president. The U.S. orchestrated a fascist coup in Chile in 1973 and backed counter-revolutionary and fascist regimes in Bolivia.
This is all atrocities committed by our oppressor upon Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. That's what should be going through your head right now. Every land that he's mentioning, right, it would be mentioned in critical race theory. The children would be taught that this is what the U.S. did in order to establish this conglomerate over this particular endeavor or business, like fruit being transported from one country to another. You know what I mean? There ain't a lot of bananas growing in America. So in order for us to eat bananas, you know what they had to do? They had to go over there to South America and other countries where we are and brutally murder the people and establish a regime that would take the money, just like the scripture says, that the gates thereof languish. Think about that. The gates thereof languish. Some of our leaders would be willing to do what? To sell us out in order to fatten their pockets by the white man and kill thousands of us in order to establish trade between the U.S. and places like Guatemala and Honduras. You from Honduras, right, sis?
I'm half Honduran.
You see what I'm saying? What we got? Say again? And what else?
Salvadorian.
Okay.
Like the same thing, just lost the bottom.
Yeah, I thank you, sis. But Honduras right here, you know what I mean? Give her a hand for being in the school. No sign of Christ. Continue on, Michelle.
In Nicaragua, when people in Central America rose up in the 1980s against corrupt U.S.-backed tyrants, the U.S. funded, trained, and backed a reign of death squad terror in Honduras, Nicaragua, and El Salvador. In Guatemala, the U.S.-backed Christian fascist butcher Rios Man slaughtered over 75,000 indigenous Mayan people, burned 600 villages to the ground, and literally ripped the hearts out of children in front of their parents.
Ooh.
The U.S. invaded Panama in 1989, dropping bombs on poor urban neighborhoods. And in case the Haitian people hadn't suffered enough under the boot of the U.S. for decades, the CIA helped to stage a bloody coup that removed the popular leader Jean-Bertrand Aristide from power in 1991. Then they invaded Haiti in 1994, then had Aristide removed again in 2004, literally kidnapping him and putting him on a plane out of the country. In 2009, Obama and Hillary Clinton orchestrated a fascist coup in Honduras
Them Africans.
to replace a mildly reformist elected president. And this is just a partial list.
You see?
All of this was done under Republicans and Democrats. All of it was done in the name of democracy.
That's crazy, man. What's the next one we got, Michelle?
Well, this the Gen Education Project is reading massacres in U.S. history.
Did we have that one up next?
You had mentioned it.
Oh, that's just something you went to on your own real quick, just to show a few of them. If you want to highlight some of them, go ahead.
Here's one some folks might know about. This is November 29, 1864, the Sand Creek Massacre. A Colorado cavalry unit on orders from Colorado government, and ignoring a surrender flag, brutally attacked Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. White abolitionist Silent Cole was assassinated for reporting the event.
Go to the next one.
Union soldiers massacred at Fort Pillow.
Go to the next one.
Ebenezer Creek Massacre. People had escaped from slavery and were following the Union Army. Were blocked from crossing the Ebenezer Creek, leading to their death.
So this is just a site, right? And I'm glad you showcased this site. I think this the same one we discussed about a week or two ago. Okay, so this is a good one to put on the class. If you want to, you can go through this site right here and just put your own timeline together. If you're doing classes in the school, go to this site right here. It's gonna give you the history of all the massacres, at least the ones that was recorded. For every one that's recorded, I think it's 10 out there that was unrecorded. Just think about that. All the massacres was not recorded. But of the ones that's recorded, just assume it's 10 more, just like it, some goddamn where. All right, or probably more than that. So you can go to the site right there and just, build your own, class or whatever, and take it from there. Let's go to the next story, Michelle.
On this one, on December 9, 1864, on the march to Savannah, hundreds of thousands of African-American families who had just escaped from slavery were left to drown by Sherman's army.
That's another one you can look up. That's be your history class, right? Now, I sent you a, is that off that same site, Salaki? All right, go back to the, what I gave you in the text messages. Let's get the next story. Check real quick. Check the online to see if there's any questions.
No questions.
Okay, go ahead and continue. You check YouTube as well? Any questions in the class? All right, come on, let's go ahead and continue. We're gonna finish this up at we'll try to finish it up by 8. Go ahead.
That's the effects of race riots in Tulsa.
You don't have Joe Biden and Ehrlichman?
I'm gonna pull Ehrlichman on one real quick.
Con.
This was the moment things would look like. I told the president about the fact that there was no money to pay these individuals to meet their demands. He asked me how much it would cost. I told him I could only make an estimate that it might be as high as $1 million or more. He told me that was no problem. He also looked over at Harlem and repeated the same statement.
This was the first time that a White House staffer had ever contradicted the criminal consequences, contradicted the president on live television.
There was also maintained what was called an enemies list, which was rather extensive and continually being updated.
The idea that the White House draws up a list of enemies and prepared to use the
under oath against the highest official of our land, the President of the United States? Yes, I am. And being so aware, do you still stand on your statement? Yes, I do. When I'm finishing my testimony for the Senate.
Is this Earlyman right here?
That's John Dean. For some reason, they're not showing Earlyman.
Well, what is he saying?
I read it and I said, you know, it's my word against Coleman, Ehrlichman, Colson, Mitchell, and the President.
What is that? What are we talking about right here, priest?
This is all the same era.
Yeah, I want Earlyman's report, not anything similar. I want his report. If you don't have it, no sweat. You got it or no?
Yeah, that's why I think Earlyman report.
Because Earlyman was a member of President Nixon's cabinet, right? And what he reported out of the cabinet is that there was a conspiracy against black folks, right, in particular, and anybody that opposed the war at that time, right, the Vietnam War, right? And if you was a black person or in opposition to the Vietnam War, what the government sought to do is label you like what they would do right now, a terrorist or a cult group or something like that, to ostracize you from, normal, everyday, average Americans, right? So they would look at us like villains. So there was this narrative that they put out there through social media, and anybody that had any influence that said black people was just drug addicts, right? And that everything that we did collectively together was just to overthrow the government, and we was just haters and, sour from, being enslaved, etc., right? So what they sought to do is to vilify us. That came out in this report, the word vilify, that the government sought to vilify black men. So like it was a narrative before a lot of you guys were born. A lot of y'all some young cats in here, man. But when I was coming up, like when I was a teenager, it seemed like everybody that was not in my neighborhood looked at me like I was a criminal. I could be dribbling the basketball on my way to the rec center, and I would be looked like as a criminal, right? And then when I became old enough to drive, every time a police saw me, if I looked at the police and he looked at me in my eye, guess what happened 2 seconds later? I got stopped. And not only did I get stopped and ticketed for something that they made up, but guess what they also did? Ripped me out my car, searched me down. If I had a little bud or something, guess what they would give me? They would write that little bud up like it was a pound of weed. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did to black men, because they did not want you to have any come up whatsoever. They sought to stifle the progress of black folks. Kazak, go ahead, priest.
What's crazy is the brother standing outside of school. Me and Nathan were seen him standing out there looking up at the post we had in the window, and just for that very thing.
The young brother that was just in here.
Come. The very thing you just said with the weed. He said he got a felony on his record because of weed.
And we show him how to get that felony off. Weed is nothing now, but for the brothers and the sisters that was trying to come up 20 years ago, weed was like, man, I ain't saying weed is terrible for you. You should smoke no weed, snort no weed, shoot no weed. Whatever you're doing with weed, you should stop doing it. That is the official position of the Israelite School of UPK under Commander General Yohana, under Christ, under the Most High, right? However, it ain't that fentanyl.
Right.
I opened the door up at the school when we was on Hazel Ridge, and it was a goddamn white man dead in front of the school. Dead. I go out there to the school, and I try to pour water on his head. I drench him with water, like a gallon of water. He's still dead. He did not wake up. He did not wake up. And I drenched him with that water, trying to wake his ass up, man. And I wasn't trying to save his life. I was trying to get the fuck away from the school before you get the police down here. 3 days later, the police bust our door. Because there's a camera right there on Hazel Ridge, and they looking at me like I'm trying to save him because I done sold him some drugs. That's my assumption. I assume that's why they raided the school. We wasn't selling no goddamn drugs in there. We ain't had nothing illegal in the school. They go in there and just tear the whole goddamn place up, right? But Salakia for getting off track. I bring up this. Go ahead, Mashah. Please, let me show y'all something in this early men's report. Please, Bruce. Let me show you what they did to black men, man. And this is just a continuation from what they did to us coming out of slavery. Like Black Wall Street was one tier of it. Before Black Wall Street, there was another tier. Before Black Wall Street, it was another little tier that gave them the catalyst or the authority to do what they did with Black Wall Street, right? Just like now, you see it's a steady progression towards, destroying Negroes, man. Keep going, Michelle.
When he sat down with us in Washington last night, at least, he claims, he was in the dark about certain aspects of the information being developed at the Senate Water Hearing. John Dean put on the record a list of the administration's enemies, compiled by various White House people. Enemies in various categories. Some hardcore enemies, for lack of a more precise term. Some enemies less recognized. Come to mind categorizing these various lists. Now, this may surprise you, but I didn't know there was such a list. That's something that was developed totally out of my sight here. He put on the record his memorandum to you and Bob Allen. Okay, read what he says. To you and Bob Allen, among others, a memo entitled Dealing with Political Enemies. Okay? Yes, sir. He was White House counsel, and he explored.
Is that Hoover right there?
That's Ehrlichman.
Okay.
The federal machinery can screw up political enemies through withholding federal contracts or litigation or income tax audits and so on. Well, I must say that's surprising. I don't recall seeing that memo, and I particularly don't recall seeing a list of enemies. Now, you don't know about Colson's list, Oldfield's list? Sorry, I did. And did you read the papers this morning? Oh, I read it. I watched it on television yesterday. But it was news to me. How can we be accused with the top of the news of federal machinery to screw up political enemies through withholding federal contract, litigation, income tax audits, as for instance, Colson's suggestion with regard to how different it is? I think that is impossible. What's impossible? You never saw that memo? I don't recall seeing it. Pretty well. Well, I'm sorry. The income tax thing is something that I didn't know about. A couple of guys thrown up, left, among other reasons, because of this account of credit. I thought income taxes were political. John Walton,
Mashah, do you have what he talking about the drugs in particular? I'm looking for the early men's report where he says that they targeted the black community for being drug dealers. You might have to grab the article because it's a lengthy interview with him. I need the article where it specifies, how we get labeled the drug dealers when we know that black folks ain't created no cocaine in their backyards. Please. She's been doing some studying. But before Ronald Reagan, that's why I'm pointing out him. Because this was the agenda after Black Wall Street, the narrative, like it's a progression that they've done. They started with lynching your ass. And then modern day lynching is what? Rustling you up by the police and putting you in the penitentiary for trumped up charges like possession of crack cocaine. I need you, if you could, just read from the article. And we're going to get out of here in, we got 4 minutes, Michelle.
Here we go. Colin. Washington, D.C., CNN. One of Richard Nixon's top advisors and a key figure in the Watergate scandal said the war on drugs was created as a political tool.
Was created as a what?
As a political tool.
So the war on drugs was created. We all know that white folks do more drugs than black people do. Or at least at an equal level. Right? At least at an equal level. We know that, man. All these goddamn crackers in the hood right now, they want the drugs that the niggas got. Salakia. Go ahead.
As a political tool to fight blacks and hippies, according to a 22-year-old interview recently published in Harper's Magazine.
To fight blacks and hippies. You know what hippies oppose? You know what hippies was like? They wanted to get high and shoot dope and be like, oh, world peace. They ain't want no conflict with nobody. They just wanted to get high and have, make love and drink and live. That's what hippies want to do. Let everybody else be what they want to be. Let's not cause war and oppression on another society. That was hippies. That opposed the United States of America's initiative to conquer the world, right? So hippies and black people, because black people were saying, well, look at the oppression that you've done upon us. And now we're free. We want to establish our own every goddamn thing. We don't want to be under you no more. So the government labeled blacks and hippies their enemy. Keep going, Michelle.
The Nixon campaign in 1968.
The what?
The Nixon campaign.
The Nixon, that's a president. That's the highest office in the whole earth. You might think the president is just the United States of America. He runs everything all over the earth, especially back then. Keep going.
The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies.
Had two enemies?
Had two enemies.
Go ahead.
The anti-war left and black people.
And who?
Black people.
And who?
Black people.
So the government considered black people their enemy. Let that sink in, man. The highest office in the earth considered black folks their enemy. Keep going. Please, go ahead.
So this thing of Donald Trump calling the Mexicans rapists and put them in cases is nothing new.
That ain't nothing new, man. That's why I like Donald Trump, because he's honest. He let niggas know that you're his enemy. Versus Bill Clinton made you believe that he was the first black president. Versus Barack Obama that made you think he was the second black president. I like Donald Trump over both of them cats, man. Because you know Donald Trump is your goddamn enemy. Why are you playing? I'd rather see my enemy, plain as day. It's a old phrase, like if you opened the door up and there was 100 snakes there, and you knew 50% of them was friendly snakes, would you allow 100% of them in your house? Would you allow one of them in your house? Hell no. The Bible says, Deuteronomy 28:68, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemy, goddammit, not your friend. And then he gonna use covert measures and means to subdue you. And you sitting up there considering him, to be your goddamn friend after he didn't put your children through what he put them through. We the children of the slaves, man. We the survivors of the apartheid, man, of the atrocity. And we sitting up there, we'll consider any of these bastards that run our community as our goddamn friends. It's sickening, man, the mentality of black folks, man. I want to throw up right goddamn now, man. Clip me a couple cats and have a throw up. Just revenge, man. I want some get back for what they done to us, man. I want some good ass get back, man. We ain't gonna forget that, man. We ain't gonna forget all of that running up in our house, man, and killing our kids, man. I can't forget that, man. I can't forget you lynching my goddamn brother and I gotta sit there and watch and not do nothing about it. But cry on the inside, man. How you did my goddamn mother that just wanted me to breathe again, man. My grandmama, man. We ain't gonna forget none of that, man. The Lord say pay their asses back double, man. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm patiently waiting for. To get their ass back double for what they did to my daughters 100 years ago. That's what I want to do. I want to get their asses back. And you know where it starts? By fishing brothers up out the hood. From the garbage that we indoctrinated into, man. From this mark of the beast, man. From brothers that have been what is it called? Enchanted by the witchcraft of this goddamn world. Right. And sisters, man, they've been indoctrinated in. I want to get their asses back for what they done to us, man. You ain't got no goddamn race pride. You don't belong to our goddamn race. Go ahead and switch sides then. Right. If you don't feel that it's time right now that this period of grace is over with, man, you a goddamn fool. You a goddamn fool, black man and woman in America, man, still indoctrinated into this garbage. You a fool. You just want to get along so that bastard will look at you with some goddamn favor. I'm done with it, man. For me, it's it. This is the time. Period. Anybody else? With that, I'm gonna call the class, man. Zarak, my nigga Zarak. Read the security exhaustion. Shalom.
Most High in Christ, with the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandments, Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming Holy Convocation, you got the Memorial of the Blowing of the Trumpets, which is coming up September 25th, 2022. So next month, we got the Memorial of the Blowing of the Trumpets. I'd like to see all the brothers in here, all the sisters in here. And we're going to go ahead and we're gonna fellowship, man, under the Most High, all right? If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headbands, and scarves. With that being said, I'd like to give a courtesy salute to the teacher, Mina Israel, I Majim, which means stand. Majim Shabbat, I Majim, Barak, Yahweh, Shim Yahushua, Barakatah. Yajimata, Saw, I Majim Shabbat, I Majim, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Alatah, Shim Yahushua. So I'm going to help you out, say Yahweh Shemar Most High in Christ. Yajimata, dismissed.
Close the whole screen.